Good evening. It was gold medal heartbreak for Canada's women's hockey team today, falling 2-1 to the U.S. in overtime.
It was the fourth consecutive gold medal meeting between Canada and the U.S. that was decided by one goal. CTV's Heather Butts has more from Milan.
What a night to be watching a gold medal hockey game here in Milan, Italy. We are at the Hockey Canada Ice Palazzo. This venue was put together so athletes here in Milan could have a space to come with their families to cheer each other on and watch Olympic sports. This evening, this room was jam-packed with family, friends, Olympians, other athletes. Wayne Gretzky himself was here this evening chatting with me while we were watching the women's gold medal match, and what a game it was. The energy in this room was something else. You could just feel people on the edge of their seats at the beginning of the game. When Canada was up 1-0, people here were just ecstatic. Everybody cheering, the screams, the clapping. It was just incredible. And then they were able to hold off the Americans for so long. People here were so excited. And then when Team USA was able to tie it up, just 2 minutes left in the third period, the energy here went from a 10 to a 0 flat. It was just, you could feel everybody go and have their breath taken away from them. That's really the only way to describe how the energy in the room just plummeted. But there's one thing people here told me, and that is that this was a gold medal game. You could tell when they came out as well in the overtime. The goalies were dialed in. The Canadian players really wanted this. Of course, people are upset here. They are upset that they didn't win that gold medal. They were here to defend their championship title. But there's something that everybody in this room has told me this evening, and that is, we're proud. We're proud of these women. We're proud of how they played. We're proud of how they showed up to this tournament tonight. It was a very different team than the team we saw just 9 days ago when they lost 5-0 to Team USA. So Canadian fans, friends, family here still very proud of these athletes. They played hard, they fought hard, and they certainly wanted to win, and they showed their fans that here this evening. People here saying they're proud of not only what they did tonight, but what they have done for this sport as a whole. There is a new generation of Canadian hockey fans cheering on these women, and it will be exciting to see where things go from here. Heather Butts, CTV News, Milan, Italy.
Thank you, Heather. Yes, we were so close, and lots of disappointed fans watching here at home, including at Bessborough Drive Elementary and Middle School. That's where we find CTV's Beth McDonnell, who watched the game with students this afternoon. Beth.
Yes, Michelle, so much disappointment that filled this gym, but also students are so proud of this team, and they're also celebrating the connection they had with their fellow students by organizing this amazing watch party, including with decorations, cheers, trivia. There was a lot to celebrate here still this afternoon. So here's a look at that watch party at the school in Leaside. At one point, the whole school was here to watch the game. There were those cheers and so many signs, everyone wearing red. And, you know, this was just one watch party that was happening across the city, the GTA, and the country. Prime Minister Mark Carney watched the game in BC. But what a heartbreaking loss to see Canada ahead for most of the game before the U.S. tied it. And then to see that goal in overtime, this was not easy watching the gold medal slip away.
It was a really close game, and it was a little disappointing to realize that we lost since it was gold, but it's okay, but still a little disappointing.
It's kind of disappointing that they lost, but I feel like they played like a really good game, and it was like super close, especially since like we lost like 5-0 the time before that. So
what'd you think of this watch party?
It was really cool. Like they had like all the decorations and stuff, so it was really fun.
Like, I'm so disappointed about how the game had turned out. Canada had a great lead, we were doing amazing, and then it all went downhill from there. And honestly, I feel like it was worth the wait too. I feel like it was fun to watch, and it was engaging, and it was like we were on our toes almost. And I think that in the end, I mean, Canada will come back, hopefully, and win gold some other time.
It was a bunch of fun. I mean, the score doesn't really matter because even though they didn't get the gold, we all came and we celebrated women's hockey, and I think that's the most important part of this.
I was really impressed with what the students had to say and how they handled the loss. The final score was 2-1 for the U.S. Reporting live, I'm Beth McDonnell. Michelle, back to you.
Thank you so much, Beth. Thanks to all the kids there. Also tonight, Dream Mexico vacations turn into a nightmare. Several groups of Canadians sick and even hospitalized during their stay. We investigate.
But first, stunning developments in the UK where Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, formerly known as Prince Andrew, was arrested.
Police took the eighth in line to the throne into custody this morning at his home on what is his 66th birthday. CTV's Abigail Beeman has more.
Police stand outside Sandringham Estate, home to former Prince Andrew, later seen leaving a police station in this vehicle. The arrest on suspicion of misconduct in public office comes after police said they were looking into allegations Mountbatten Windsor had passed on documents to the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein while he was working as a trade envoy.
It truly is a seismic moment for this country, and I think for the monarchy as well.
So what's your reaction to your brother's arrest?
King Charles wasn't answering questions Thursday about his little brother, but released a statement saying he learned the news with the deepest concern and the law must take its course. Mountbatten Windsor spent a decade as trade envoy. He made about a dozen visits to Canada in that period. Emails released in the Epstein files suggest he shared UK government reports in 2010. Mountbatten Windsor has always denied wrongdoing.
Whether those details that were passed on by Andrew to Epstein were all part of his job and part of his responsibilities, well, that's an open question. However, the official guidance for trade envoys was that they have a duty of confidentiality.
The family of Virginia Giuffre says the arrest is a win for Epstein victims. She died by suicide in May and in 2022 settled a lawsuit accusing the former prince of sexually abusing her as a teenager.
I think we're very hopeful that this is the start of the domino effect. This is where the house of cards starts falling.
Police released a short statement after the former prince was seen leaving the police station, saying he was released under investigation with some police searches of royal property still underway. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
Here in Toronto, we turn our attention to the weather forecast and kind of a calm day after that messy stuff we got yesterday. Not too hot, not too cold, but we do anticipate some unsettled weather as we head in towards the end of the week. Our Lindsay Morrison is here with all the details.
Yeah, Michelle, once again, we are looking at a mix of precip. This time it looks like we will begin with some rain, followed by a changeover to some snow. We've got some rain moving over Lake Huron right now. We've had some thunderstorms in southwestern Ontario today. Plenty of lightning associated with those. It is +1 right now at Pearson Airport, 0 degrees in Hamilton, 2 degrees in the Peterborough area, and winds are starting to strengthen now. They're still coming out of the east, gusting close to 60 kilometers per hour in the Hamilton area. Through the night tonight, all is pretty calm, dry through most of the overnight hours, with the wet weather beginning in the pre-dawn hours of your Friday. But we've got a system on the way that, again, is going to bring us some rain and likely some snow. Environment Canada issuing special weather statements for snow in eastern Ontario and some pretty gusty winds along the north shore of Lake Erie for tomorrow afternoon. We'll detail everything you need to know heading into the weekend coming up in your weather forecast. But for now, Michelle, I'm going to send it back to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. The country's finance minister made a stop in Mississauga today to introduce new measures aimed at cracking down on extortion.
The goal is to improve the sharing of financial intelligence with law enforcement. CTV's Janice Golding reports.
We've all seen the videos, houses and businesses riddled with bullet holes, cars set ablaze.
This criminal violence has become an epidemic in our communities.
Crimes born of extortion.
It's not only the demand for money, it creates fear. It disrupts our operations. It puts entrepreneurs, employees, and families in danger.
Today, in response to increasing calls for aid, particularly from the South Asian community, the federal government announced it's stepping in.
We're going to make life very difficult for criminals around the country.
Finance Minister François-Philippe Champagne describing a host of new initiatives to combat extortion crime, saying they've enlisted FinTrack, Canada's financial intelligence agency, to prioritize and mobilize resources.
Enough is enough. We're going to find you.
FinTrack will be working with banks and credit unions, as well as the RCMP and local police, to share data and flag suspicious transactions.
We're going to distract, disrupt, deter you from targeting families and business owners in this community and other communities.
Beyond that, FinTrack will implement a new targeted indicator profile and share it with financial institutions so they can quickly detect extortion transactions. It will also assign financial intelligence experts to work on the ground to support police.
We are strengthening Canada's ability to follow the money, identify criminal networks, and disrupt their operations.
Peel's Deputy Chief of Police says last year alone there were 476 reports of extortion in the region. 190 involved businesses, and of those, 29 resulted in shootings or arson.
That is not just a statistic. It represents hundreds of people who are living in fear and forced to live with the experiences they've had.
The federal government's move follows summits in Brampton and Surrey, BC, as well as pleas from mayors in Brampton and Caledon, politicians and business people saying there's a desperate need for a multi-jurisdictional strategy. Now, FinTrack says it will be building on work it's already undertaken, saying over the last 2 years, it's identified 46 people involved in 11,000 transactions. Reporting live from Janice Golding, now back to Nathan.
Thank you, Janice. A man has been taken to hospital after a stabbing near Queen and Bathurst. Police were called to the area shortly after 2 p.m. for reports of a man being stabbed inside a building. The victim, a 33-year-old man, was taken to hospital with serious but non-life-threatening injuries. So far, there's no information on suspects.
Also in the city, shots were fired outside a residential building near Keele and Eglinton early this morning.
Yeah, kind of in the middle of the night, heard what sounded like 4 shots. Bang, bang, bang. I've not heard shots before, so I wasn't sure if that's what it was.
It was scary, but I thought it was like more in this area. But now you're telling me it was in my building, in the same condo. I'm very scared.
Police were called to an apartment on Cannon Jackson Drive for reports of shots fired around 3 a.m. While no injuries were reported, they say they located evidence of gunfire at the scene. Investigators have not provided any details on possible suspects at this point.
York Regional Police are looking for possible victims of a ticket scam. 19-year-old Pui Hin Lee has been charged with robbery. Police allege earlier this month Lee met a woman regarding the purchase of concert tickets. When the victim arrived, the suspect pointed a knife at her and demanded money. Police say they met through the social media platform Redbook. Police are concerned there could be more victims. Anyone with information is urged to contact investigators or Crime Stoppers.
Speaking of York Regional Police, the service's chief announced today that he's planning to retire in June. Jim McSween joined York Police in 1989, and he's been in the top job since May of 2020. The Police Service Board says Chief McSween has served the community with integrity, professionalism, and a steadfast commitment to public safety. The board noted his leadership as the organization evolves to meet the needs of a growing region. And McSween said in a statement, "It has been the greatest honor of my career to lead the dedicated members of this service who put the professionalism, compassion, and commitment to public safety into action every day. I would like to thank the Police Service Board, our members, our partners, and our communities for the trust and confidence you have placed in me over the past 6 years and for my entire career."
A fourth complainant took the stand today at the sexual assault trial of billionaire businessman Frank Stronach. But proceedings hit a hurdle when the woman referred to preparatory meetings with the prosecution. The judge briefly halted proceedings twice to allow lawyers to confer on the matter. Stronach's defense lawyer previously warned she would seek a stay of proceedings over allegations that complainants were coached by prosecutors in preparation for the trial. Stronach has pleaded not guilty to 12 charges stemming from alleged incidents dating back as far as the 1970s. Still to come, putting the Eglinton Crosstown to the test. We get on board with 3 experts and find out what they're railing about as they ride the new transit service.
As neighbors dig out following another major snowfall, the mayor was asked this morning about the ongoing cleanup.
I want to thank the city staff that have been out there. We knew that this was coming yesterday, and yeah, and over the weekend there was a lot of planning done. So a lot of the snow have mostly removed, and we can handle what Mother Nature gives to us.
The mayor noted the city has been dealing with a stretch of frigid temperatures and significant snowfall. But in a nod to Mayor Mel Lastman back in 1999, she said there was no need to call in the Army.
Dozens of Canadians returning from a hotel in Mexico are complaining of painful symptoms when they got back to Canada.
As CTV's John Woodward reports, experts say an outbreak of foodborne illness could be the culprit.
It was a Caribbean dream vacation at the Royalton Splash Riviera in Cancun, Mexico for Kelly Bennett and her extended family earlier this month.
We're hoping just to make memories, family time.
But the memories Bennett's family were making soon turned into ones they would rather forget.
From day 3 on, we just dropped like flies. We were going down 4, 5, 6 of us at a time.
The kids suddenly bedridden, many adults barely leaving the bathroom. The diagnosis, norovirus, and also what her doctor here in Canada described as likely foodborne parasites.
My son is still not well. He does have parasites in his stool. The 5 of us have now provided 15 stool samples.
It was a nightmare.
Warren Carrier and his girlfriend stayed at the same resort. She's been in hospital upon returning to Vancouver Island for a week. The doctors there say it's E. coli.
Symptoms were obviously, the vomiting, diarrhea, severe cramping, severe stomach pain, nausea.
Both groups say they talked to many more Canadians in that situation.
If the food handling safety is not being maintained, it's a recipe for disaster.
Wayne Smith of Toronto Metropolitan University's Institute for Hospitality and Tourism says issues in Cuba and the United States are pushing Canadians to vacation more in Mexico.
Last year, 2.8 million Canadians went to Mexico. I think this is the type of news they don't want.
The hotel didn't respond to questions from CTV News. Public health doctor Isaac Bogosh says these outbreaks do happen from time to time and says Canadians shouldn't trust what they eat there the way they do here.
Boil it, peel it, cook it, or forget it. Because some of the, for example, fresh produce may have bacteria on it or a virus on it that can cause gastrointestinal symptoms.
Bennett says by the end of last week, the hotel appeared to recognize something was up.
Now that when you enter the buffets and the restaurants, their staff is there greeting you with hand sanitizer.
Measures she wished had been in place when she got there. John Woodward, CTV News.
With Canada's current trade mission to Mexico wrapping up, attention now turns to a review of the Canada-U.S.-Mexico trade agreement.
And there's concern CUSMA could be in jeopardy. CTV senior political correspondent Michael Lacouture has more from Ottawa.
It's about time that we are less reliant and more resilient.
Finance Minister François-Philippe Champagne believes Canadians understand the reality of the situation. While President Donald Trump continues to say he could walk away from CUSMA, the New York Times is reporting 2 Canadian officials involved in trade discussions say expectations for a full renewal of the deal are very low. Still, the minister isn't ready to give up hope yet.
So we'll continue to make the point and keep telling them that we're ready at the table whenever the parties want to review CUSMA.
Now, it comes as the minister overseeing trade with the U.S. just wrapped up a trade mission to Mexico.
There's no division as between the interest of Mexico and Canada in committing ourselves to the trilateral trade agreement.
This trade expert believes threats from the White House are part of the negotiation, but Canada needs to continue making a case for CUSMA.
To members of Congress, to state governments, to U.S. business, to underscore how important this agreement is to the United States.
Now, there is a sense of urgency to end the trade war with the U.S. According to Statistics Canada, this country's trade deficit grew to $31.3 billion last year, the largest since the COVID-19 pandemic. Overall, exports are down slightly, but the Canadian economy is slowly shifting away from the U.S., with 5.8% fewer exports going south. And exports to countries excluding the U.S. rose by 17.2% in 2025.
We have what the world wants, whether it's come from critical mineral, from energy, from natural resources.
The finance minister adds while Canada wants to work with the U.S., there are other trading opportunities out there. Mike Lecoulteur, CTV News, Ottawa.
Meanwhile, the U.S. International Trade Commission is launching an investigation related to North America's highly integrated auto industry. It's going to look into the automotive rules of origin for the Canada-U.S.-Mexico trade agreement. The rules are criteria used to determine whether a good has undergone sufficient production in the CUSMA agreement to be eligible for preferential tariff treatment. The probe will examine the impact on the American economy and relevancy considering recent technology changes. A report must be delivered to Donald Trump and the U.S. Senate by July 2027.
We have a peek tonight at what the U.S. president's new plane is going to look like. This is Air Force One with its new color scheme. There are actually two of these specifically configured aircraft, and both will be painted red, white, gold, and dark blue, Donald Trump's preferred colors. The change was proposed by the president during his first term. Air Force One has been painted baby blue and white for more than 60 years.
I'm Pat Foran. Coming up on Consumer Alert, Canadian hockey players at the Olympics don't need to worry about hockey sticks. But if you play or have children who do, you know when they break, they're expensive to replace. One hockey dad has devised a way to repair them. I'll have that story. That's just ahead.
Well, with some recent mild weather, ice coverage on the Great Lakes has actually gone down. And with more melting expected, you will want to take care around any ice surfaces over the next couple of days. Make sure that storm drains are cleared as well as snowbanks start to melt. Rivers and streams are likely to be running high anyway. And then we've got some rain in the forecast for tomorrow morning. Don't forget the umbrella. We'll give you an idea of how much to expect and take you through the weekend forecast coming up here on CTV News. Stay with us.
When you see it happen, send it to CTV News. Text 10400 from your screen to ours. Text 10400.
Toronto's newest transit line has been in operation for just over a week now after years of cost overruns and delays.
But now that it's finally up and running, was it worth the wait? CTV's Natalie Johnson rode the rails with local leaders to find out.
A week after the Eglinton LRT finally hit the tracks for service, three experts met up at a shiny new station.
Amazing.
To explore Toronto's newest transit line.
I like that they're videos now.
And go for a real-world ride.
Community activist, a politician, and an academic walk into an LRT.
The experts, U of T Infrastructure Institute Director Maddie Semiatiki.
This is really a change of pace for how we build transit and how transit looks in our city.
City Councillor Josh Matlow, whose ward includes 8 stops along the line.
Transit has always been a dream for communities like Little Jamaica.
And Little Jamaica's Community Land Trust Coordinator Anika Mark.
A huge opportunity for our local economies, right?
With the opening day excitement now in the rear view, these experts put this regular ride to the test.
I think it's so fast. That's one thing I love about it. The speed, like we're getting to where we need to go. And I think that's what Torontonians need.
That speed is obvious in the underground portion of the line.
For the underground part, I think people are really happy.
But
you'll see when we get to the above ground part, that's where there are still question marks, that the trains noticeably slow down.
We were going really fast underground, and I could physically feel us slow down as we surfaced because Metrolinx did not ensure that there'd be transit signal priority, meaning that the train wouldn't have to slow down and stop at traffic signals.
Transit signal priority is now being implemented, but won't be fully in place until May. The close distance between stations also means more stops.
This is the missing middle that we often talk about in Toronto city planning debates. And what happens is the planners at the time wanted to make sure that there was transit that was close to all of where these folks live so that they don't have to have long walks to the stations. And yet the trade-off is now that the line in this area goes slower because the stations in some parts are very close together.
The consensus is that the above-ground ride feels very different than the below-ground ride, almost as though Eglinton is 2 different lines. So should this entire LRT have been built at the same grade?
This will be an ongoing debate in our city. It's, you know, you're always trading off speed versus cost. This line already was billions and billions of dollars. Going underground is even more expensive. So you're always doing trade-offs.
There's going to be a lot of growth on Eglinton now that there's a rapid transit line. But, you know, this took so long that even the Sign Center station's name got changed to Don Valley. It took that long when the government shut down the Science Centre.
Matt Lowe calling for a public inquiry into why the project was 6 years late and more than $1 billion over budget. But after years of crippling construction, there is finally a chance to start building back.
Eglinton has always been a beautiful small business corridor, right? Like all the way through. And so there's so much opportunity for our small business to come back, be prosperous, utilize this line to bring new clients, connect with their existing clients, and connect with citizens across the city.
You're starting to see development happening. And part of the reason we build these trains is to move people. The other reason is to catalyze great communities around them.
A rough ride to get to this point, but finally a light at the end of the tunnel. Natalie Johnson, CTV News.
Canada's women's hockey team scored a silver medal today, and there's hope Canada's men's team can continue their quest towards a gold medal.
If you play hockey or have children in this sport, you know it's costly, especially if you need to replace expensive hockey sticks. Here's Pat Foran with a consumer alert.
Over the years, we've been hearing from families concerned about the rising costs of hockey sticks. They can cost $200, $300, and even $400 or more. One hockey dad who was tired of replacing them found a way to fix them.
Brody, back for Nylander, shoots it.
When one of the Toronto Maple Leafs breaks a stick, they skate to the bench to get a new one. Sticks often self-destruct at the wrong time, and when it happens in recreational and minor hockey games, they're expensive to replace. Where do sticks typically break?
Well, honestly, they're
everywhere.
Everywhere and anywhere.
Rod Daigle of Mississauga has two sons in AAA hockey. Like many parents, he was getting frustrated with his growing stick budget.
When a stick costs anywhere from $380 to $450, and you need to have 3 or 4 in a season, that adds up.
Most composite hockey sticks only come with a 30-day warranty. Daigle says it seemed like many would break not long after the warranty expired, so he devised a way to repair them.
I received this goalie stick yesterday, asked to be repaired. And you see the shaft is snapped here, so that should be a pretty straightforward repair.
Daigle says shafts are easier to fix than blades, and sometimes it's better to fuse 2 broken sticks together to create a new one, something he calls a Frankenstick.
Rather than, toss them in the landfill, I'm actually able to make new sticks that are affordable and usable and nearly as light as the original.
He started out helping his sons, but now has a small business, Stick Medic, repairing sticks often for recreational players. He has his own method using resin, composite fibers, and a steady hand. He charges about $80 for a repair and says he guarantees it won't break in the same place.
Families are getting tired of the breakage and short lifespan of these highly expensive sticks.
Daigle is not sure how big his business will grow, but says it's good to let players know they have options. So if you have an expensive broken stick, you may be able to repair it and get it back in the game. There are other companies that are now repairing hockey sticks. You can also buy refurbished sticks. They sell for about 30% of the cost of a new one. Most come with a 30-day warranty and could save you money. On your side, I'm Pat Foran.
If you have a consumer story idea, email us at alert@ctv.ca.
No broken sticks, but maybe a broken heart after that game earlier, but we're getting over it. It's still a silver medal.
Yeah, but I heard someone say in the newsroom we lost gold because we could taste it. We were so close and really hard to see the players' faces there. But yeah, silver's not too bad. And men's team, they still got a chance too.
They still have a chance. We're rooting on Canada no matter what. And we might have some broken umbrellas tomorrow because we've got some gusty winds on the way once again. And yes, you're going to need the umbrella because rain moves in overnight tonight into the pre-dawn hours and likely going to impact your morning commute. Yesterday, of course, it was freezing rain in some areas. This is what it looked like west of the city, where we had freezing precipitation leading to some difficulties on the roadways and coating trees. As we make our way through the day tomorrow, this is what you need to know. Heading into tomorrow, we have snow, measurable snow expected for areas east of Georgian Bay and in eastern Ontario, maybe upwards of 10 centimeters of snow. And those winds I was talking about could gust upwards of 80 kilometers per hour along the north shore of Lake Erie. Here's a look at the satellite and radar. We had some thunderstorms earlier today near Windsor, and there's a little bit of lightning happening near Bayfield, Ontario right now. But for the most part, the active weather is out over Lake Huron. We've got another system that's going to swing through. And yes, this one is likely to bring us a couple of different types of precipitation, but it plays out differently than yesterday's storm. For example, we're going to begin with some rain and perhaps some measurable rain, maybe 5 to 15 millimeters of it around the GTA. That combined with the melting out there could lead to a little bit of localized flooding, so just be mindful of that. There's the snow that's going to be heavier for areas north of here in through cottage country. We get into the possibility of some mixing by about the noon hour tomorrow. And then as this system wraps around, we see another round of potential flurries or measurable, slightly measurable wet snowflakes. Into Saturday, that opportunity is there again. The weekend itself isn't a total washout by any means. In fact, there will be many dry periods, but intermittent flurries and showers are likely. As mentioned, anywhere from 5 to maybe 15 millimeters of rain. We haven't had a lot of rain recently, so that feels new. And again, the measurable snow is going to be for areas like Huntsville over toward Bancroft, perhaps a couple of centimeters to the southwest as we make our way into Saturday. Now, I touched upon those winds. What's interesting is the winds change direction tomorrow. We will have more of a southwest flow. That helps bump up our temperature. Yes, the winds are going to be gusty, but might help warm us up a little bit. It is 1 degree right now at Pearson Airport. We're going to hold near 1 degree, maybe even 2 degrees through the overnight hours tonight. So a mild overnight. Look at tomorrow's forecast daytime high, +4. So that will be interesting once again, factoring into whether or not we get rain versus snow. 6 degrees tomorrow for you in the Brantford area as well as Oakville. But look at the difference between Oakville and Whitby. 1 for the high in Whitby, Ontario, 0 in Minden, and 1 degree in Brighton. 7-day forecast is shaping up to look like this. Saturday's another mild one, +3 for the high, but the chance of flurries or showers, again, not a washout of a day, but just the chance is there. Mostly cloudy skies through the weekend too, 0 degrees on Sunday. A bit of a cool little burst Monday night and into Tuesday morning. Temperature back in the minus double digits for Tuesday, but a return to some sun, and we're going to watch Wednesday for maybe a little bit of snow or mixing once again. That's the forecast for now. Nathan, over to you.
Thank you, Lindsay. Also tonight, a $10 million gift. A former patient gives back to Sunnybrook Hospital in a big way, expanding treatment and research for obsessive-compulsive disorder.
A Toronto business executive has gifted $10 million to Sunnybrook Health Sciences to expand treatment and research into obsessive-compulsive disorder.
As CTV's health reporter Pauline Chan tells us, the cause is very personal to the donor.
In 2019, lawyer and businessman Brian Reeve came to the Friedrich W. Thompson Center at Sunnybrook.
I had OCD throughout a lot of my adult life, and it finally got to the point where I needed a life reset. And so I entered the program. I was in it for 4 months and had tremendous results from it.
Now he's giving back to the program to the tune of $10 million.
We are running the only intensive treatment program in the country where people with more severe and disabling OCD can actually get in-depth help 7 days a week. And that's what the new Reeve Centre will allow us to enlarge upon.
If there are 400,000 Canadians with OCD, so few of them, it's just the barest tip of the iceberg that are even being treated.
20 to 30% of people are exceedingly severe and really have no quality of life whatsoever, maybe completely housebound.
The new Reeve OCD Centre will bring the inpatient part of the program over to Sunnybrook's main Bayview campus, and it will expand the facilities.
It also provides funding for a chair, which will advance research in OCD and improving care into the future. And it also provides for fellowships, which is allowing us to be a training ground for future leaders in OCD care.
Reeve, who did the intensive treatment program at the previous site, says patients, who can come from across the country, need to feel comfortable and safe. Construction on the Reeve OCD Centre is now underway, and they hope to open in 2027. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
The province is pledging support to expand a healthcare facility in Durham specializing in the treatment of type 1 diabetes. The Ministry of Health says it's renovating and expanding the Charles H. Best Diabetes Centre in Whitby. The work is expected to see the centre nearly double its capacity to 3,800 patients a year. A construction schedule hasn't been set yet, but Health Minister Sylvia Jones says this project will see Durham benefit from increased access to diabetes care and education, reducing complications and stress on the healthcare system.
Another Game of Thrones prequel is on the way, although this time it's heading for the stage rather than the screen. It's been nearly 6 years since the final episode of the smash hit HBO series aired, but fans have been able to return to Westeros with follow-up prequel series House of the Dragon and A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. England's Royal Shakespeare Company now says it will debut the world premiere of Game of Thrones: The Mad King this summer. The play will be set over a decade before the events of the main series, with author George R.R. Martin serving as executive producer and creator.
And a few years after the end of UK historical drama Peaky Blinders, the franchise is back with the official trailer for an upcoming feature film.
You abandoned your kingdom, and you abandoned your son.
Cillian Murphy and several other cast members from the original show are back in Peaky Blinders: The Immortal Man. It follows his now former crime boss character. He faces off against his son, who's now running the gang. The movie is set during the Second World War, and it's out March 20th. It'll be followed by 2 seasons of a new sequel series.
Pixar is out with the official trailer for another long-awaited sequel, Toy Story 5.
Halt! Who goes there?
Whoa, whoa, whoa! I come in peace?
It's been too long, cowboy.
Tom Hanks and Tim Allen are back as Woody and Buzz Lightyear, along with several other returning and new voices. This time around, the story focuses on the arrival of a new smart tablet that threatens to monopolize their owner's attention, putting the other toys' futures at risk. Coming 7 years after the release of Toy Story 4, Toy Story 5 hits theaters on June 19th.
Canadian folk music icon Joni Mitchell is set to receive a special honor at the Juno Awards next month.
I really don't know clouds. I really don't know clouds at all.
Mitchell will be presented with a Lifetime Achievement Award. Singer-songwriters Sarah McLachlan and Allison Russell will perform a musical tribute for the 82-year-old during the ceremony. Mitchell was a key figure in the 1960s folk revival and has won 11 Grammy Awards, as well as being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in '97. The Junos will be handed out on March 29th in Hamilton. Still ahead, Loblaw and Google team up, announcing a new AI-powered way for Canadians to shop. What it means for customers after the break.
Canada recorded a trade deficit last year of $31.3 billion. B&M Bloomberg's Lindsay Biscaya has more.
Apart from the pandemic, this was the widest annual shortfall on record. Data shows annual exports last year saw a drop, but a strong run-up in gold prices might have masked the true damage of the trade war. Exports of gold, silver, and platinum jumped nearly 42%. Exports to the U.S., meanwhile, fell almost 6%. And here are the closing numbers for the day. The Canadian dollar was up to end the day, sitting at 73.07. West Texas Intermediate climbed to 66.45. Western Canadian Select was also up to $49.64 a barrel. And the TSX hitting another all-time high today, ending the day at 33,594. And those are your business headlines. I'm Lindsay Biscaya.
The Business Report is brought to you by Canadian Western Bank, the bank built for business.
The stretch of cold and snow across much of the country has been good news for Canadian Tire. The company says the early onset of wintry weather prompted people to move up their seasonal purchases like snowblowers, shovels, footwear, hockey gear, and automotive parts. That ongoing surge put revenue for the fourth quarter above $4.5 billion, up from the same period last year.
The Ontario Teachers Pension Plan Board is shifting the way it sets climate targets. The board previously had a 2030 goal to reduce the carbon emissions intensity of its portfolio by 67% compared to 2019. but has now concluded that's not a helpful way to measure real-world progress. Instead, the Pension Plan Board has set a 2030 target to double climate transition aligned and private investments to $70 billion. The organization is Canada's largest single profession pension plan, managing about $270 billion in assets.
Loblaw has partnered with Google to allow more shopping via artificial intelligence. The grocer says consumers will be able to shop for food, beauty products, and apparel directly through AI mode on Google Search and the tech giant's Gemini app. Loblaw says it sees AI assisting people in researching, comparing, and buying products as a natural evolution of how customers want to shop. The company says it's also expanding its use of Google Cloud's Vertex AI platform.
Food Bank Mississauga launched its annual Ramadan Give 30 fundraising campaign.
Well, traditionally, food banks have really focused their fundraising efforts at the holidays and around Thanksgiving time. But for 20% of Mississauga's community, Ramadan is the most important holiday of the year, a time where families gather with your more broad community. There's important dinner celebrations and fasting, and really a time of reflection. And it includes giving back to those who don't have food to eat. And so we're proud to have an opportunity to engage with our Muslim neighbors and give them a chance to be able to support their neighbors through the work we do here at Food Banks Mississauga.
Money raised during the special effort will help food bank users throughout Mississauga. It will also allow the facilities to stock more halal food for members of the Muslim community. The campaign runs until March 19th.
Returning to our coverage of the Milano Cortina Olympics, and despite the tough loss for the Canadian women's hockey team, there were some bright spots,
including another chance to reach the top of the podium after 4 Canadian curlers punched their ticket to the final with a dramatic finish today. Brad Jacobs' rink defeated Norway 5-4 in extra ends. The Norwegians tied the game in the 10th, but Canada's skip used the hammer in the 11th to win. Jacobs, Mark Kennedy, Brett Gallant, and Ben Herbert bounced back from an 8-6 loss to Norway in the final preliminary match this morning. The UK beat Switzerland 8-5 in the other semifinal today. They'll face Canada in the gold medal match on Saturday.
On the women's side, Canada is headed to tomorrow morning's semifinal against Sweden. Rachel Homan and her rink had to beat South Korea today, and they did 10-7. Both teams needed a win to move on. The Canadian skip made a hit for the win in the 10th to close round-robin play at 6-3. After a sluggish start, Canada roared into medal contention with 5 straight wins. Our overall medal count now at these games is 15.
In freestyle skiing, Canada's Cassie Sharp qualified for the women's halfpipe final on Saturday, despite a nasty fall today. The gold medalist slammed down hard during her second run, but waved to the crowd and smiled as she was carried away on a stretcher. The Canadian Olympic Committee says she is stable and being evaluated by medical staff. Sharp is still ranked 3rd overall because of her first run. 2 other Canadians also qualified. Just ahead, unlocking one of Toronto's most distinguished honors, Dr. Joseph Wong is presented with the key to the city for a lifetime of philanthropic work. His inspiring story coming up.
Get Toronto's top stories, breaking news alerts, and watch live. Download the CTV News app.
When handing out keys to the city, Mayor Olivia Chow says her goal is to recognize inspiring individuals from diverse backgrounds who embody the spirit and potential of Toronto.
Today, she presented the honor to physician and longtime Chinese community advocate, Dr. Joseph Wong. Mayor Chow said Wong has had a lifelong commitment to philanthropy and advocacy for seniors in Toronto and beyond. Originally from Hong Kong, Wong moved to Canada as a young man and opened a family medical practice in Toronto. He soon got involved in local efforts to combat discrimination and expand access to culturally appropriate care for Chinese Canadian seniors.
Dr. Joseph Wong, for almost 5 decades, have really dedicated his life to serve others, whether helping to open the doors for the Southeast Asian refugees arriving to Canada through Operation Lifeline, or seeking justice for people that are voiceless, that have been discriminated through racist policies. He is very deserving of the key to the City of Toronto for his dedication, his passion, and his commitment to serving others.
Today's award, the key to the city,
is not mine alone at all. It belongs to the great group of people, volunteers who have been together. We have quite a few of them today. We have been working together, volunteering together since the late 1970s, now close to 48 to 49 years.
The key to the city is Toronto's highest honor granted by the mayor to an individual or a group.
Congrats to Dr. Wong.
Now, the key to the weather forecast over the next few days is really to expect rain, maybe snow. It'll depend on the temperature.
Yeah, once again, we're going to find ourselves with the temperature near freezing, which, as we now know, it can be cold enough for snow, but also mild enough for rain or maybe a little something in between. We do have weather advisories that have been issued by Environment Canada. Snow for eastern Ontario, gusty winds along the north shore of Lake Erie and into Niagara. Forecast daytime high for tomorrow, 4 degrees here in the city of Toronto, but we do expect to start off the day with rain and transition over to some mixing or some snow by about midway through the day. Here's your 7-day forecast, a little unsettled into Saturday as well. Sunday, mostly cloudy. Michelle and Nathan.
Thank you, Lindsay. That's it for us, but be sure to join Omar Sachedina tonight at 11 for CTV National News, followed by Zoraida Alman with our next local newscast at 11:30.
Meantime, our coverage continues anytime on CP24 and online at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
For Lindsay Morrison and the whole team here at CTV News, thanks for watching and have a great night.